Hello, everyone. All right, we're live.
Hello.
We're live. This is our fourth office hours, actually. We're the Lovable team. We have some special guests. We'll do a round of intros very soon. But as you know, we're on the sort of journey of letting anybody build, transform their ideas into working software. We think that building full stack apps shouldn't be hard. And if you're non-technical today, there's a lot of barriers to that. And we want to make that easier. So we're basically enabling people to build working software using natural language and make it as easy as having a conversation. It's not perfect, but we're getting better and better. We had a big launch and rebrand last week. And I don't know, how would you say it went, Fabian?
No, but it went, I think, really great. But we also had some problems. We had some downtime. I'm going to be talking with the CEO of one of our cloud providers right after this. So if you guys have any feedback, I'll bring it with me. No, but really the support and just from everyone using our product from way back to all the new people coming in, it's been amazing to see.
Super cool. But we have several people here in the stream, so let's maybe start with a short intro. I don't know, Alex, if you want to kick it off.
Yep. So I'm Alex. I've been at Lovable for a few months, and I try to make the product better, basically, every day. Lots of prompting, lots of work on every side of the product, and I'm super excited because there's so much to do.
Cool. Harry.
Hey guys, my name is Harry Roper. You can find me on Twitter and YouTube, just at Harry Mackay Roper. I'm a consultant for enterprise companies, building internal tools and SaaS applications for them. Been doing that now for the last about a year almost, coming up to it with Lovable, which is really exciting. And hopefully today I can show you a bit of the magic and why this tool is pretty awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, no, Harry is one of our OG users who's been with us for a long time, and has really been, I think, leveling up other people as well in using the tool, because I think there's a lot of things to pick up as you go. Let's go, Harry. Yeah.
Cool. But then my name is Christian, part of the product team at Lovable, doing everything from mostly talking to users, but also some prompt engineering on the side. And I don't know if you want to do a quick intro for those that.
Yeah, I'm Fabian, one of the co-founders. Been working on Lovable and GPT engineer before that now for about over a year, and no, it's really exciting when we start bringing this to the masses, and it's really starting to work for more and more people. So I'm excited to, as Alex said, just keep on improving the product for you all.
Cool. And also a shout out to Vibor. Vibor is our community person. He's doing a great job there, and he will be manning the comment section and manning everything happening backstage. So he's going to be with us as well. But yeah, so today we're going to do a live building session. We're going to keep it risky. We want to kind of do it live, and this is not for everyone, but we think we have a good enough product to do this, and we feel comfortable. Harry's going to be leading the session, and he's going to be building something to show you end-to-end how far you can get actually with Lovable in a short amount of time. But before that, we have a couple housekeeping things we want to just raise some awareness around. So I'll hand it over to you, Alex, for that.
Yeah, so the first thing is that we had the Supabase integration before, the one that you probably all know here. And I think yesterday we sent an email to our users saying that, hey, we're going to remove this old Supabase integration. And some of you freaked out a bit and you thought, wait, what? You're removing the Supabase integration? And this is not the one you were thinking of. It's one that we built last summer. And that was on old GPT Engineer projects. It was maybe not built in the best way, so it was quite hard to move it to the new one. So we decided to instead encourage users to move to the new one. But we do understand that we don't want to do this all the time, and we want you to feel like you can build projects that you're going to be able to maintain for years. So the plan for the new features we add is to make them compatible with new projects and port them back to old projects. And one example that I can mention right now is that we have this other feature called Select, which probably some of you have used. Is the one where you can highlight stuff in your view, and that one is in the same position now, where it's only available on projects that were built, I don't know, in the last month and a half or something like that. But we are almost there. It's not ready today, but maybe tomorrow or something. putting it back to all projects so you can all use it. So we want to do this for all the features in the future. So that was the first thing. And the second thing, let me share, is that we've introduced a feature request board on feedback.lovable.app, I think. I can show it to you. So we used to have some of this in Discord up until now, but I think it was hard to discover for users. And I know many Lovable users are not on Discord, and they don't want to be on Discord. So this is a public page that you can log into with your Lovable account. So this is for Lovable users, and yeah, you can submit your requests here, or you can upvote others. So I encourage you to go look at this list, and then we also look at the list, and then we decide to do the things that we think make sense. I like it. I like the voting so far. So keep doing that. It aligns with what I want. So great.
Super. Thanks, Alex.
Nice.
All right, Harry, what are we building, and are you going to build this alone, or like how are we going to do this?
Yeah, I think we can get some context. Let me just share my screen and let's go to begin with. First of all, hello to everybody in the chat. I'm a little bit nervous, I'm not going to lie, so I could do with your support down below if that's cool. And we're going to try and build today with Lovable our own version of Canny. I imagine everybody can see my screen. I hope so. Is it sharing, guys? Just so I know.
Not yet.
Is screen sharing working?
Not
No.
yet, Harry.
I think you have to bring it on screen, on stage. It looks like it's grayed out to the side.
Oh, let me see. And yeah, now you're up.
Nice. Okay. Thanks. Okay, so as you can tell, nervous, but we've got this. Okay, we're going to try and rebuild today Canny.io. So Lovable have recently released their lovely feedback tool, and Christian and I were talking about what could we build in an hour with you guys and go from an idea to hopefully a product by the end of it. So we're going to take some ideas from Canny.io and try and rebuild it inside Lovable. And then what I'd also love for you guys to do is if you have any feature ideas or ways that you think we can improve this, put it in chat, and Vibor and some other people on the team are going to look out and see if they can grab some of your ideas, and we'll see if we can add it as well. Let's talk about prerequisites in case you want to follow along and build this project for yourself. I'm inside Lovable, and the only prompt that I've asked so far is to have a blank project, and that's it. We're here at the starting gates. As well as that, inside Supabase, I've made a project called Canny Clone, and I've also added my OpenAI key so that none of you can spam me by stealing my key while we're live. So we should be set up for everything to do. And if any of this is confusing, don't worry. We'll try and help you and explain towards the end. I might just start building, guys. Is there anything else I should explain before we jump in?
I just have one question, Harry. Why did you start with a? Do you always start with a blank project? I'm just curious to why you went for that.
So sometimes I really like what Lovable can do, but a lot of the time I find like it can add a lot of details that you don't need right at the beginning. And in the first point, I'm just trying to think about how can we solve the problem rather than building like a really nice UI or something like that. And a blank project always helps me, I guess, like take those incremental steps to the finish and go.
Makes sense.
So cool. I'm going to just open up Supabase here. You can see I've got a bunch of organizations. You'll be able to add your own as well. I'm going to go to Lovables. We're going to try and find Canny Clone. Here it is. And I'm going to click connect. So whilst that's connecting, we can just take a quick look at Canny again and just see some of the features that we want to pull out. So in this case, just basically from what I'm looking at, I like the summaries that are done by the AI. Maybe we could include that. It's quite cool that people can upvote different pieces of feedback. So maybe we'll take that. And it's cool that there's tagging as well and stuff that the team can do to help organize some of this feedback. So let's see if we can get like a basic first version of that. Now with the Supabase connection, it should be able to put everything together so that I have a blank project. Ooh, and we're here. Great. Let's start. So the first thing, and like one of the magic prompts that can just help you get set up with like user logins and stuff like that straight away is really simple. You can just ask it to add authentication. So be polite. So please add user login and sign up using
Please always be
Supabase.
polite. It's very important.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm
Also,
gonna,
like,
I'm gonna drop now, but Harry, I will check in here in 50 minutes or so, and then we'll see how far you guys have gotten along.
you can hold me
Alright.
to that. I'll see you in 50 minutes.
Yeah. Good luck, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
someone's
one of the other
asking someone's asking what's Canny, and it's a tool for basically like what I showed before, right? Like feedback at lovable.dev, to where people can submit feature requests or feedback in general, and others can upvote. And there's some AI features sprinkled on top of it.
Yeah,
nice. One of the things that we're going to do here that you're seeing me go through at the moment is we're going to go to authentication, providers, and then email. And what we're going to do here is just turn off the confirmation email. This should mean that I should be able to then just log in with any old account. There we are. Let's do sign up, sign in. We can just use a random old password here. Awesome, now we're signed in and we have our own user account. Really easy. I hope you can all understand how simple that was to do in one prompt. So now we're inside our account. Now maybe we'll write a little bit of a longer prompt now that we've got authentication and user accounts out of the way. That's going to handle a few more of the features of Canny. So the first thing we need is for users to be able to submit feedback and to show that in a list. So let's add that as a feature.
Yeah, cool. And while you write that, Harry, do you always feel like adding off as a first step makes sense? Is that something you always do mostly? When know you're going to have users. Yeah.
I've got battle scars from it. I think I've spoken to you about it before, right? Where it's like we've worked on an application for so long, and then you go to add auth as the second step, and it's really hard for the AI to then go and edit all of those individual bits. So if you start from auth from the beginning and have it set up, the app will then just build itself on top of authorization. Otherwise, there's a lot of fiddling.
Yeah, I've been doing lots of user support this week, and I've talked to some users who have tried to add this later down the line, or kind of ignore it for a while, and it's pretty hard to add these things later. So I think the reasoning here is to try to build this as you see all these things like authentications as the foundation of your project. They will be used everywhere, so it's good to spend some time on making this work, and basically not ignore errors and try to make that work very, very well before moving on to other things. So building this sort of pyramid where the foundations that are maybe not super exciting if you want to build a big project, but if you do it in the start, then it's kind of solved and it's not much work. But if you try to edit later, it's going to be a bit more painful. So try to build it this way, I think, is the right way.
Nice. So what we're going to do now is just build out a new page for user feedback. I just told it what I expect users to be able to do. So using listicles is quite a useful tip sometimes when you're building this out. The number one feature is that users should be able to submit feedback with a title and description. And number two is that we want to be able to see a card of all the feedback that we've submitted, and they can vote on the individual ones as well. So I'll submit this and we'll see what it comes up with. I've been quite broad in my instructions, which is sometimes quite fun with AI because you can see what it implements and try not to be too specific in this case. So the cool thing about the new Supabase integration with Lovable is that it will create and do all of the policies and everything, as you can see here for you. So rather than me having to go into Supabase, click the table, click create new table, which is a bit of a chore, I can just hit apply changes here, and that's going to apply the migration for us.
Cool. So there was a question by Charles there on whether you can use Lovable to have Google authentication. Do you have some experience doing that, Harry?
Yeah, it's really fiddly, but it's worth it. And the best way to figure it out is Supabase have a really good tutorial in their documentation that you can go check out. And then if you go to authentication providers, you'll see here, Charles, all of the different options that you'll need. You can add Discord, you can add Apple, SAML, etc. But yeah, Supabase documentation has a really good tutorial on Google. Okay, cool. this looks like it ran, and it also did, so it wrote both the back end and the front end first. Let's just go to view feedback. I will submit a test one. Great. And we can see here that we can vote on the card as well. So if I get the preview link, I think I should be able to share that with everyone, right? And they'll be able to try it out themselves. There we are. Would you guys be able to share this link if I pass it somewhere?
Yes.
You can write it in chat, I think, on where you are right now in the bottom right on the screen.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I'll
just put it there. Yeah, nice.
You guys can take that.
Cool. Share
it. Yeah, I think Fabian's going to rewatch the stream now and see how I was trolling him about last time coming in. We'll have to see. Cool. So now we're here and we're at our kind of cross section. Sometimes in your applications, you're going to want to have like a specific section for people to manage data or manage some of the user flows or something like that. We like to use like admin pages for this and then giving users admin roles. So in this case, I'm going to add that and I'm going to ask Lovable to kind of implement that for me. So please, we're going to implement an admin page. I want you to go into implement an admin page 1.
Cool. By the way, I think it's good to watch you prompting a little bit, because I think there are a bunch of lessons here, and I think that when you talk to an AI, it's like when you talk to a human, you need to communicate well. And I think that many of us, myself first, we are pretty lazy when we write things. We're kind of like, hey, you know, I expect you to understand what I mean when I write this thing. But when you're building an application like this, I think it's important to be as clear as possible of what you want and what behavior you expect. Because first, sometimes your communication isn't clear and it's quite ambiguous, and maybe it's a sign that you don't really know what you want, which is fair. But I do think that trying to structure your messages like this with clear orders, trying to put some spacing in between, imagine if you would be writing this for the actual person that you respect. You would probably not write the same things you would write to an AI. You're just like, typing a few words. So I think it makes a lot of sense to spend time on writing your prompts and trying to read them and think, okay, does that make sense? Have I included the context that's necessary? You might want to repeat yourself a little bit, which in the best of worlds, you shouldn't have to do that. Our product should be like, you know what, I completely get it. I understand the entire conversation. But sometimes I like as well to kind of reset the stage, and say, hey, this is what we've done now. Now I want to start doing this, and this is how I want you to do it. Really, to put everything on all the chances on your side.
And this is actually, I've run into a couple of issues sometimes where there is maybe two components that are very similar in different parts of the application. And then if you're not going to be specific, then you might get into this loop where the AI is editing the other component, not the one you're looking at, and it becomes super annoying because you don't know exactly what's happening and why you're not seeing the changes. So definitely try to be specific, try to mention the page, use the select tool.
Yep. And I can add that, so Lovable knows what page you're looking at. It can read your browser logs. If you use the select tool, then it knows what you actually are kind of looking at, basically. So that helps a lot, because otherwise, imagine how ambiguous it can be when you have a lot of pages. When somebody says, "Hey, make it better," how do you know what it means? So it's good to try to be specific, and the select tool helps a lot.
Great. Well, I'll just run through the steps we went through whilst the guys are running through that, so you're back up to date with us. We were basically implementing an admin page here. I asked it very specifically that we want like a specific page to go to. We'll need a profiles table to be able to track that, who's an admin. And then we want to be able to show a table of all feedback as well. So what it's done here is gone and run in the back end and created that profile table for us so we can track users. And then you'll see here it's made the admin column as well. So I can just set this to true or false in order for people to be able to access that extra page. I've seen some of your feedback, which is quite good already that it's coming in and we're getting some good votes. I'm going to try and combine the unicorns and the confetti one because this design does need some work. So we can do two things here. First of all, I'm going to run one of my favorite commands, which is make the design more elegant. So for the feedback page, let's improve the design, making it simpler, more elegant, and fitting of a tech SaaS, for example. See if we can improve it and appease our Add Unicorns feedback in this case.
Yeah, I saw there was a question we got on users getting asked about a file needing to be refactored. And Alex, I think that's a recent change. Maybe you can.
Yeah, I saw that one. I was trying to answer it in chat, but yes. So maybe you don't know that, but Lovable tries to keep file sizes in check, essentially, because sometimes you start with a small app and the AI thinks that it can fit in a small file because it's a pretty small thing, and then you just add a lot of things, and then files get bigger. And when they get bigger, you have two problems. So the first one is that it takes longer to write the file for the AI, so you have to wait longer. But the second one is that it can get a bit more confused. And in the past, especially, we had issues where it would start removing things. We have not gotten rid of this problem completely, but we've really removed quite a lot of it. But we kept this behavior because we think it's good. It's basically a general good principle of writing code to try to split things into subcomponents. But we heard your feedback that lots of you said that when these refactors were happening, the AI was kind of going rogue and breaking lots of stuff. So what we've changed now is that we are not doing this, or we are not really encouraging it anymore. But the AI will tell you that you should basically be asking it yourself. But I'm aware that sometimes it's going to tell you, hey, I think I should refactor this file, and maybe you'll say, yes, do it, and it will not really know exactly which file you were talking about, and something we're going to fix. But in the meantime, then you can be specific and say, hey, I refactored this file. And if you ask for this in like one step, one message, then it's a lot less likely that it's going to mess anything up. And I would recommend you do it so that files don't get too large. It's a good investment for the future of your project.
Yeah. Thanks, Alex. It's looking much better, Harry.
I'm in the deep ends of design and front end right now to appease these pieces of feedback. But
yeah,
we've added
somebody asked you to publish the changes more often so they can see it in the live link.
Right, but we can see it we can see it in the preview link you posted. So if I don't know who asked for this, but if you refresh, then you should see what Harry says pretty much with a slight delay.
Absolutely. So we're in front end land right now. I'm just kind of pushing this design a little bit more. You can see my favorite font, my favorite prompt, the elegant prompt, has helped us get there. Usually using these kind of words to describe like the design changes you want, like more unique or elegant or simple or minimal, will really help with the AI understanding what you want. And then you can use libraries as well. So in this case, I said, when a user clicks upvote on a piece of feedback, let's show some confetti and then use a library for this. So like go and find something where somebody's already built something and we can just reuse it. So we get this really nice effect now when we're upvoting effects. So hopefully that appeases the design things. The final thing I want to do is just add a sidebar. So now between different pages, add all available pages so far. And we should be getting closer to more of an app-like experience. I'm anxious that Fabian's coming back soon, so we need to get this done as soon as possible. If you've got any more ideas, keep pumping them in chat. Let us know how we can improve it. And we will wait for this sidebar to pump out.
Yeah. In the meantime, I thought I would bring this question up. What do you suggest when you run into a bug that Lovable can fix? Start over. So I hope you don't have to go that far. So first thing is that obviously the AI is not perfect and it's not supremely intelligent, and it might not be able to fix some issues. So that's important to have the right expectations there. But what I want to say is that you can quite often get out of problems by so first, obviously, you can ask the AI to fix it. We have this button that Harry's using right now. that you can kind of, in the start, I think everybody just spams this button without really trying to think too much, which is fine. Like that's fine. But when you see it's not working, I think it's good to also think about your communication with the AI there. And you can really try to just imagine if someone you know would be doing the same thing over and over again. So maybe a human would not behave this way. But you can tell them to take a step back and say that they've tried to fix it in A, B, C ways before, and it didn't work. And also, one thing I can recommend is to also say, so this is not working. Just think about the problem. Do not try to solve it. So it's a problem that we're trying to fix. But it's kind of hard sometimes for the AI to know when to code and when not to code, because sometimes as a user you just want it to code, you don't want it to talk, basically. But in some of these cases, it's good to try to have a small conversation, essentially, and say, hey, don't write code right now. Let's talk about the error. Try to summarize the steps, and then that's how it can get out of it. A second thing that I can recommend is to just tell it to use more logging, so it can use the browser console to write more logs, and it's supposed to do that a little bit, but it's not perfect. So if you instruct it to say, hey, try to describe, all the steps, everything, so that because it has access to these things, then it can read them and try to backtrack a bit. So it's not guaranteed to fix everything, obviously, but it can help. And if after all these steps, if it still doesn't work, or maybe you don't know, that you can revert. So you can go back to your previous edit. So you can go back in the chat history and go back to a point where it still worked, basically, and try again. And you may have learned on the way all the things that AI might do wrong. So you can prompt it to just not try the solutions, and etc. etc. So you're basically learning at the same time all the things that it shouldn't do. So I can recommend that. And yes, it's not going to fix all the things, but it helps to do that.
Nice. And I think what you said there, Alex, like the like don't go down the rabbit hole of errors and keep clicking the fix button, it will solve like a lot of problems, because I think a lot of people burn credits doing that rather than thinking a little bit more abstractly about like, okay, why is this problem working, or is there a different direction I can prompt to? Like if you restore back to where it was working and then just think, okay, how would I change the prompt maybe to describe what I'm trying to achieve a little bit more clearly to get the result I want?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm facing a few errors with the admin dashboard, which I'm trying to fix, but I have gone and made a load of people admin. If you want access, go make an account. I'll make a load of people admin again in a minute, and you'll be able to access this special board. But we've got our side nav now. We've got some feedback. People are giving us some good ideas. I feel like $1 million startup already. Let's see if we can get this admin table working again. So I'm probably just going to change this, and I'm just going to say for the admin dashboard, we want a table that shows all feedback. You can see on the feedback page an implementation on how to retrieve this table's data. This is another good way to get around things. So if something's working on another page, like data's being pulled in here, right? I can see all the feedback, but for some reason I can't see it in admin. So just directing the AI to this part of the app and saying, hey, here is where you can find some functionality or like some code where it's going to work already. And then you can copy that implementation for the admin dashboard. And as you can see, now it's able to do it pretty quickly, and we've solved that hump nice and fast. You can stop sweating now.
So this is an example, right? So this is an example where you did try the fix with AI several times, but just like pushing the AI to explore a different approach it can often get you very, very far ahead. And it shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't be required. And I think one of the challenges we'll have as a team is being able to instill this sort of like second order thinking without having you to push it in the right direction. Having it realize that, oh, I have tried this 3 times. Maybe I should reconsider how I was doing this and try something completely different. And that's going to be part of the things we have to improve internally in the product to avoid you having to do this work today. In the meantime, I think
that's where you're going. That's where you're going. We see the progress of the year. I think it's incredible. Applause everyone, please, in chat. The Lovable team, they're killing it. And I think, as you said, Chris, like here as well, it's like you can see the errors going. So like, how can we change our mode of thinking Instead of going in one direction, how can we change the direction? So we're here in our admin dashboard now. I want to add AI because I think it's something that could really help with, as you can imagine, with all of your feedback coming in, it's a little bit hard for me to understand, okay, where is the direction? Like, what should I be focusing on? So I'm going to ask the AI to implement AI in this case. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, I now want to add an AI feature using Supabase edge functions, which is essentially the backend function that we're writing, an OpenAI key, because we need to use the API, and a summary block. Essentially, the feature should work like this. We're going to say one, a summary block is above the table on the admin dashboard. Two, we send all feedback as a JSON object to the edge function, asking OpenAI to summarize it. Three, we display the summary in the summary block. So all I've done here really is I've taken the feature and I've broken it down into a couple of steps of like how I would do the logic to put everything together if I was programming it from scratch. We will just double check this. I think this should work. OpenAI key feature works. So there it is.
So again, I think it's also interesting here because what you did here is that you kind of made the part of the work basically, because you some might just say, hey, I want an AI to just, I don't know, did you ask to summarize? I don't, yeah.
Yes.
Have AI summarize these things. And I think in this case, actually, I think it would work. It would probably figure out the right thing. But here, because you know how it works, to avoid even risking to not getting it right, you've kind of said, hey, this is how I want you to do it. And I think there are a few things to learn from this. Is that it's always better when you know how to do things, which maybe sounds obvious, but I think for many of us, if sometimes we take the time to think a little bit about how it's going to work, the thing we're going to ask for, we might as well just put it the extra work to say how it's going to work to make sure it happens. But also, I think there's something amazing about Lovable is that you can learn how to program without ever writing code. I don't know if Harry, you feel the same, but I think just by using the product and sometimes reading the code output or getting a bit familiar with the stuff it builds, it kind of feels like you learn to program. Like you're really getting some knowledge after a while. So for example, here you should have used an edge function and used the OpenAI API, which you might not have known the first time, but you're kind of learning how to program in English for real. And it's a skill that you can use to your advantage, I think. And so if you're using Lovable, you can think of it as a way to learn programming on a different scale, and you can get really good at it, like Harry.
Yeah, I didn't know full stack before doing this. I was more of a web designer using no-code tools to put stuff together. And Lovable's really enabled me to learn everything I need to know to be like a full stack front-end developer. If we look at, whilst we're waiting for this prompt to run, my GitHub, I'll go back to here. Here's, guys, where I started learning Lovable, probably around January. Bit more action in May, June, and then all of a sudden, boom, straight away. This tool will really get you looking at code and learning how it all works and piecing it together. One of the things I could think of to help out based on what Alex was saying there is like, if you do get stuck and it's not very evident to you how like the steps would go, you can always just like take a piece of paper and write down like from 1 to 10 the steps that the app would need to take to do the certain steps. If you can break it down like that, I think it helps the AI a lot, putting stuff together. Okay, this is looking really cool. The feedback summary is really nice. It's ingesting all of our data, putting it together, and then telling us like in a list, like what it thinks are the most important. I think something that I'd love to do as well, perhaps, is just push the prompting a little bit more for this feedback summary. So this is where we can get a little bit more technical. Rather than the feedback summary just giving me back like the table of stuff that we have here, let's actually add some like a little bit of intelligence. So let's change the prompt for the OpenAI call. First of all, I'm going to tell it to use XML tags to help break up the data easier and show the AI what is our feedback and what is our instructions. 2, I would like you to estimate which features are low-hanging fruit that our team should focus on. Because at the end of the day, it's great to regurgitate this list, but we'd love AI to actually tell us, what could be improved here, what could be done.
I think while that loads, Harry, just because I think there's maybe a lot of people that have experimented with Supabase, they've maybe added auth to their app, they maybe have a database where they're storing some data, but they may be a bit confused when it comes to edge functions. It's a very loaded word. So, how do you think about edge functions? Like, when does it using an edge function make sense in your head and your mental model?
Yeah. So edge functions are something that run in the cloud, right? And essentially, they help your app connect and talk to other applications that have data. So anything with an API, anything where you need to contact something like OpenAI or Claude or Gemini, you need to send some data to them and they need to send you back some data. Having an edge function in the middle of these two places it's kind of like the middleman. It has all your secret keys, all of that security to access the API. But it also means that your users don't get access to those keys. So you should always think about it as edge functions are these great middlemen to bring data in and out of your application, I guess. I don't know if I explained that extremely well, Chris.
That's correct. You should never paste your API keys in Lovable. And for now, Supabase is the way to do it. We might actually change that and enable you to sort of integrate with other systems in the future within Lovable without having to use Supabase. For now, Supabase is the best way to do this. And I think your explanation was super on point. There is some users asking whether it's possible to talk to the code base like they do in Cursor. I think you've also seen this, Alex. A lot of people saying they just want to talk. Yep. They don't want the AI to code. Is that coming soon, maybe? Or
so, if you used the product a couple of months ago, it was literally impossible to ask anything without it's being like, yeah, sure, let me implement the thing, even though you didn't really ask for anything. We've made lots of improvements, and I personally think now it's pretty easy to make it not write code and be clear that you don't want that. But we also hear that you may want some kind of mode where you're sure that there's not gonna be any code writing. So we're thinking about how to do this without adding tons of buttons and options, which maybe some users might like, but I think most users don't want things to be complex. But in the meantime, you can easily ask it questions about your code base and say, hey, don't write code. And I don't think it's going to do it. And I totally get why it's a great way to prepare for features. Like what Harry was showing now, where we had this plan, basically. You can get to a nice place by talking to the AI about your plan before iterating on it. That works very well as well. Say, hey, now I want to do this, don't write code. How can we do it? And then have figure it out and then say, okay, now just do it. But I know that sometimes it goes a bit crazy and starts implementing things. And if it does, you can always revert. I think many users don't know you can just, you can undo, you can revert. So it's not the end of the world. Makes sense. Yes, you can use capital letters and get a bit angry and threatening. That works as well.
I need some ideas on how to improve this, guys. If anybody knows, I'm now looking at this UI verse place. So if you have any ideas, whack them in chat. But one of the great things about Lovable is you can take lots of elements that you find online and implement them into your front end pretty quick. So this open source library called UIverse is a great place to find lots of cool little custom buttons and check marks and stuff like that. Here's a nice tick, for example.
Cool.
So I really like this one. I'm going to see if I can implement it. I want to be able to tick feedback so I can highlight it to the team in the meeting that I have with them. So let's add that here. We'll go to admin. You can see I've added a refresh button so that we can see that the AI summary is generating. Still needs a bit of cleaning up, this formatting of the information, but it's done some cool stuff now, looking at key trends and patterns in feedback.
Yeah.
Let's add this switch.
Harry, I was looking at the feedback from your Canny clone, and there's a couple that might be interesting. There's one I think a pretty obvious one is just sorting the list by number of votes.
Nice.
So maybe
So we
that's
add
what
that
we
in.
do.
Screw my ideas. Let's do the guys' feedback. Okay. So one of the things we can do is use the select tool to select components. So sometimes you might find the things you're talking about, like Lovable doesn't know what exactly to look at. So you can just go here, select these, sort feedback by votes. And I'm pretty sure I saw somebody say filtering as well.
Yeah, that makes sense, I think. What are you going to filter on, though?
What would we filter on? Length, maybe. Length and date.
And what is length? The number of characters of the.
Yes,
Okay.
which I think the AI should capture here. But let's see. Oh, yeah, maybe we'll start using this then to capture more feedback. So if you have any other ideas of things you want us to try out and add to this feedback canny tool, go use the link to log in, add it to the product feedback board here. We'll keep adding some ideas. Maybe we should try the old avatars, Chris, in a minute.
Yeah.
I'm scared, but
there's a question here by, I think, somebody asking, how do you set up an edge function at Supabase? Well, it's actually, you should just ask for what you want. As Alex was saying before, if you've connected Supabase, and once that integration is in place, simply describing, hey, I want to add the capability to summarize X using AI, or I want to add Stripe integration. The AI should already be able to understand when it makes sense to create an edge function for this automatically. However, it always can be pretty useful to, if you have a sort of like if you know it's something that will require integrating with a third party, you know it involves API keys, it probably helps to just mention the word edge function, and the AI will just play along and be sure to implement it. And that's the only thing you need to do. The AI will then write the function itself, and it will be automatically deployed to Supabase. And there's some quick links that maybe, Harry, you can show. If you hover on the Supabase button, that will kind of lead you to the logs and all the details within Supabase if you need to go there to debug and understand what's going on with further detail. But it's once Supabase is integrated, long story short, the AI should do this thing automatically under the hood.
Yep, I can show that here. So here's the function it wrote, the summarize feedback one, and you can see here that it does all of the bits and bobs we need, getting that AI, key that I set at the beginning, if you guys remember, under edge functions and manage secrets. You can see here it's deployed it for me as well. And then if we go to the table editor, you can see all of the tables are being created, and each one has security set up as well, so we don't need to worry about that. So it really, yeah, it takes a lot out of your hands with the stuff that you need to set up. Cool.
Oh, nice. You got the filters working. I have to say, it's a weird filter, Harry, to filter by length of feedback, but I like it. I like it. You want to prioritize the people.
The ones that exactly. Let's have the long feedback. You should also add set most popular feedbacks and maybe some filters. I want to see new upvotes and feedback items in real time. Oof. Alex, maybe you can guide me through how to do this. Adding real time.
Yeah, I created that feedback, so I don't know. I would just ask the AI to show me new upvotes and new feedback items in real time. I would expect it to work, but let's see.
I think so. Real time. Let's see.
And so what I'm trying to get here is that there's a real-time feature in Supabase. Let's see if it's gonna pick up on, yeah. And nice. So this feature allows the clients, so the browsers, to basically get live the new items that are entered in the database, so we can refresh the view in real time. And that's part of the Supabase SDK, so I would expect that to work. But let's see.
Nice. Thank you all for your feedback so far. This is looking really good. The app's coming together. Our boss Fabian's coming back in 15 minutes, so I've got to appease him. He's the overlord for today's challenge. Basically, I'm pretty happy with this. So what have we got so far? We can get feedback. You guys can submit feedback for us. We can filter and search it. We have an admin view with an AI summary that kind of looks a bit messy, so I might ask that to clean it up. And then we've got a table of all of those items as well. Let's see. Add ability to attach images to feedback. Let's do that. I'm also going to do something cool that Alex had. So at the top of the product feedback page, I want to enable real time so I can see the users who are logged in. And then we will also take this, add the ability to attach images to feedback. And we'll use Superbase storage for that as well.
So here again, it's Harry being a bit more of an expert on the internal capabilities of Superbase and pointing and mentioning to storage, which is what will store the files and the images. That's cool.
And honestly, within a week of learning this tool, you'd all be able to do the same, 100%. It's just about learning the ins and outs of Superbase. I did not know anything about Superbase a few months ago, and you're all able to do it, I'm sure. We believe. Let's see.
And by the way, this presents feature, it's quite a new thing in Superbase. That was released a couple of weeks ago. And so I think Lovable can, let's see if it works, but it's supposed to manage to use it. So if you have requests for new features that you see coming out there on popular APIs, or some specific integrations with popular APIs that you want us to support, let us know, because right now we are trying to do this every day during the month to create new integrations. And by integrations, what I mean is just being better at interacting with a specific API or product so that it works seamlessly, and we can work on improving that. So if you want to, I don't know, send emails, do payments, so everybody's asking for Stripe, for example, which works fairly well now, but we can improve it. Or anything else, just let us know. You can use the feedback .lovable.dev or Twitter or anything, and we try to take that into account.
Yeah,
so here I'm just asking for it. Okay, sorry, guys.
I'm just saying there's a question by Manuel Leon here on, is there any tips to manage and balance the context window about the project? How to prevent hallucinations once, I guess, a project gets bigger and bigger. I think we already pointed to this before, right, Alex? Like being specific, using the select tool.
There's one extra thing that we haven't talked about, and I think it's super powerful and maybe underused in the product. It's the custom knowledge. So it's something you can attach to every project, and it's visible in your settings. And we have not used it in this session because I think we've not needed it because we have an expert prompter here, and we kind of know exactly where we're going. And since we're building a pretty straightforward product, I think there is not too many misunderstandings. But when you're building something that is very, very unique, and if somebody else would come there and they would not understand really what it's about, I think it's worth really spending time defining this custom knowledge as. So you can put pretty much whatever you want here. You can put some custom instructions if you want. What I like to do there is to try to give some kind of high-level view of my projects and what I'm trying to build. So yeah, we're trying to build this app that's doing ABC, and I want this feature to work like this. And I kind of like to maintain this thing as a way for the AI to remember where we are and why I've done some things the way I did them. Because when your projects get huge, like some of our users, they have 4,000 or 5,000 messages in their projects, which is pretty massive. It gets harder to remember, when you started and what you were trying to achieve on a specific page or something like that. And what this leads to potentially is when the AI removes code. So sometimes it does that even though it knows exactly it shouldn't do it, and it's a problem with the AI models. But sometimes I think it's because it doesn't really understand why something is the way it is anymore, because you've done so many things and you've asked for so many features that doesn't remember why it's there. And I think using custom knowledge to try to keep a nice summary of that can help. So I can recommend trying to maintain this and use it as some kind of scratchpad of things that you think are important.
Yep. One of the biggest things that's quite useful, or two of the things I've always found quite useful that I can share with you guys to try out on your own projects, is asking it to group all components into nice folders and helpful groupings so that you keep your code base nice and organized. And then just using global, Tailwind, CSS classes and colors, and just reminding it about that. One of the tips that I got from Anthropic and their documentation is just using these tags to help identify to the AI, like, what are descriptions about features, what are descriptions about conventions, etc. So I'll save that and put that there. Let's go back to feedback. It looks like our presence works. I can see some of you who are online. That's cool. And then we can attach an image. So let me put a nice picture of a meme. Have we got any memes? This one looks good. It needs more color. Awesome. I think I'm going to be down here.
Nice.
There we go. So you've got any cool memes? Go add them to feedback. That's cool.
So I think this is like, it might come across as underwhelming, but like building an app that can take a file, store it in a bucket for you, and then display it in the UI with just one prompt. I think that would be a lot of coding for someone that even knows how to code. So it might feel like nothing. And I think if you maybe haven't coded before, it seems like such a small thing, but I think it's pretty cool. We shouldn't get accustomed to this too fast.
For sure. And just to show what Chris was talking about, Supabase has this storage space where you can go and see all of your files uploaded. We have these feedback attachments, which is a public folder, meaning that anybody can see the photos that we've attached. So just, if you're not sure of policies and stuff like that, go check that out, go read about it. It will help with when putting together these applications. And yeah, we got some people uploading photos already, which is cool. I'll go back to the app. I can see everybody who's logged in, which is so nice. I love this feature.
I have a feature request, Harry. Can we do a detail page for each feedback where people can leave comments within a feedback?
Okay,
I want to discuss a particular feedback before, like, maybe prioritizing.
So should we do that as a detail page, or should we add comments to the feedback cards themselves?
Whatever you I'll let you decide on that one.
Okay.
I think a detail page makes more sense, but I'll let you choose.
Do you want to give me the prompt?
I would write something maybe as add a detail page for each feedback that users can visit, and add a comment to discuss a specific feedback.
Nice. Take it.
A bit convoluted prompt, but let's see. Fingers crossed.
I think you'll get it. I think the cool thing about Lovable is you can be broad. I think the main thing that you need to be specific about to those who are watching is just like if you want to do some sort of like complicated logic, like breaking it down into those steps. Here, because Chris and I are building a new page and it's new functionality and it's new features, you can be broad at the start and then get more specific as you kind of hone down what you want that page to do and look like. Just wait for the prompt. Story of my life.
Yeah, and I think there was a question on. There was a couple of interesting questions. One on an example of a component creation using a UI design screenshot, which I think maybe something I know you, Harry, do quite a bit.
Yes. So what we can do here is let's go and find something. So there's lots of popular websites to use for UI. I found this one recently that was shared with me called Viewport. So it's like a collection of really nice UI. So you can kind of go through and find stuff that you like. Let's see if there's something here that we can use for our feedback tool. Similarly as well, you can go on tools like Dribble, Behance. Okay. So maybe I really like this sidebar view. The UI looks quite nice, and I'm quite a fan of how they've set out the layout and the options. So what I'll do is I'll wait for the light mode, and I'll take a screenshot with my Mac. I'll come to Lovable. We're already adding our dedicated view. Nice, there you go, Chris. So you can click, you should be able to click the cards now and add a comment. So you should add the confetti. Let me see if I can add a comment to this. There we go. So
Pretty
go
cool
try
that,
that on.
that you were talking and doing something else while the AI was working and getting stuff done. It's pretty sick.
Yes, so like it's always a multi-faceted movement. As you're waiting for one thing to run, you can move on to the next because it's that fast that it can keep up with you. So now that we've done that and we can see we've added comments, go ahead and see if everybody can add a comment to add unicorns. Let's test out the feature, see if you can break it, see if my comment appears for you in add unicorns. We'll check that out in a sec. In the meantime, I'm going to paste this UI now. You remember I grabbed it from here, this screenshot of this nice sidebar. And I'm just going to say, please can you redesign our sidebar nav using, and then I'm going to break it down to listicle again, and I'll say, what did I like in the screenshot? So try and call this out. So use the UI pasted as inspiration, first of all. I don't want it to copy it specifically, just as inspiration. Utilize our current pages for the navigation. And don't add extras. And then I think the thing I liked the most from this UI part, right, was how it kind of has like this user profile picture, their username, and then their subscription as well. So I'm going to ask it specifically to make sure it adds that. Please add the user profile part that's at the top of the example. I really like the layout and how lines separate sections. So again, with like UI design, I think a lot of people, you maybe would just paste the screenshot and say, please remake this. And you might get close to what you want, but you might not get exactly what you liked in that piece of UI or, you know, that specific part that you're trying to pull out. So here it's really good to just be specific again about what do you like about the UI? What exactly are you trying to get out of it? And just help the AI to put it together as it needs. It does need a lot of help. So yeah, let's wait for this to roll.
One other tip I can give is that you can add multiple images in your prompts, I think up to 5, something like that. So you can potentially take a screenshot of a UI, like a large UI, and then show multiple screenshots of smaller components within that big screenshots as a way to just zoom in and let the AI focus on it. Because if you give a large image, basically these images, they are down sampled in the AI models to become quite small. So it might not be able to, you know, see the details like the small pieces of text or something. So it might not see what you see. So it's good to remember this and maybe help it by just zooming in so that it can get the details.
Harry, I was going to exactly ask for the same thing. Moving the presence indicator to the bottom of the sidebar, it was hurting me.
Yeah, same. It looks really broken, right? Good to have. But yeah, it got it pretty close to what I wanted, right? Like if we look at the UI that we had, it's managed to capture this username and name the tag, and then the lines for separation as well that I wanted, made it a little bit wider. And then I didn't ask for it to add the switcher, but sometimes with Lovable, it adds lovely things that work. So it's a happy ad from the AI, not a sad ad. It's broken the homepage, but we can change that with a prompt. And then just lots of testing, always testing that nothing's broken. There we go.
Nice.
I think you said to me this to the bottom, Chris. I'll move that in a second.
So I think just to recap, right? Like, or just to see how far we've gone, right? We have an application where users can log in, they can create feedbacks. Collaboratively, they can vote on different feedbacks they think are more important than others. You can filter feedbacks. You can add comments to feedbacks, and you can even add attachments to the feedback themselves, right? This is a pretty complex application that we built here in like basically 30 minutes. And it's an application you could just publish, share a link, and already start collecting real information and get value if you were, for example, a PM at a product team. So I think it's hard to sort of like not realize how actually incredibly fast we were able to put this together with real sort of full stack capabilities.
And just to add to that, like, it's spot on what you said. And if we look at pricing for Canny, not picking on them for any reason, it's $359 a month for their growth plan, top end. I hate to think what that would cost with seats as well if you were paying for like individual users. Whereas like we built this with Lovable in 30 minutes, as Chris said, and for some startups, I think this is enough for them to be able to start collecting feedback from their users and not have to worry about like setting loads of stuff up or creating accounts and stuff like that. Love the memes. Love the meme.
And I think the cool thing here is that you get to also focus on the specific things you want your custom software to cover. A lot of these times, these kind of solutions are extremely bloated, right? So you don't need maybe 90% of the functionality, but you just want like the few features that will actually add value to your process. So you get to cherry pick that.
Yeah, we built quite a few internal one-off tools at Lovable. So it's like things that you're going to use just once, and it's easier to rebuild it than look for a solution online, which is pretty crazy.
Cool.
Somebody wanted unicorns.
Somebody wanted unicorns. I'm waiting for Fabian to come, but I think Fabian might have left the building. So
we'll have to send it to him. We'll have to send it to him. I think just to summarize for everyone, I think the things to bring out of this session, if you're watching this back and you want to remake it yourself in your own time, is just get used to the vocabulary and the language around Supabase. And specificity, I think Alex and I and Chris have spoken about it a lot, but being as like focused on what you want done, and like talking about speed, guys, like we did that in like 25 edits, 32 messages, and we've got like this level of that. Kind of crazy, really. What do you all think in chat? I haven't looked in chat in a while. What does everybody think? Do we do a good job?
You're getting some compliments in the chat, Harry.
Oh, they're great. They're great.
Somebody asking, you do this for a living, Harry?
Yes, it's the best job in the world. I love it. I absolutely love it. Made possible by the Lovable guys. Like if you want to like get more ideas on prompting, or you have any other questions afterwards, I'm available on Twitter. So just ping me a message there, Harry at Harry McKay. I'd be happy to help out anyone. But I think this is pretty close, guys, in regards to being finished. What do you think? Anything else we should add, or do we call it here?
I think this is pretty good, Harry. Vibor is highlighting our Discord community. Please go there if you want to share suggestions. If you get stuck and want some support, there's a lot of helpful members that have been using Lovable for months that can maybe give you a hand, including Harry. Also, maybe again another shout out to the feedback.lovable.dev platform that we launched on Monday. It's a great place to leave feedback and feature requests, stuff you would like to see in our platform. It's not yet a place where we will kind of cater to like specific bugs and issues, mostly for like generic feedback that will help us improve product and feature request ideas that you might think make sense adding to Lovable. So I think those are the two things. And maybe the last thing that Alex mentioned before, we are doing this thing, this advent of integrations in December. We have the capability to add support for integrations pretty fast, and we want to do one every day. So if there's anything you're looking to use in your applications you're building, whether it's a library, some sort of integration, please shout it out in Twitter, and we will make sure that we at least evaluate it, and maybe if it makes sense, we'll add it as well to make building applications using these external third-party tools easier. So I know Stripe is coming. A lot of you mentioned Stripe, so that's going to be one of the first ones we prioritize. But yeah, any final thoughts? Any of you? I think it was a good session.
Yeah, pretty cool.
We got the app.
I think I just want to tell people that they can learn to be good at Lovable, like anything. like, I don't know, everybody is afraid of AI taking our jobs or anything, but I just think it's like it's empowering other people to learn new ways of doing things so much faster. And you might have been a developer before, you might not have been, doesn't matter, but you can learn to get good at this. And it's not just something that you're basically a victim of if it doesn't work. You can really work around it and try to understand how it works behind the scenes and get better at it. And if you join Discord, for example, there are lots of power users who can help you get better at essentially communicating with the AI. And if you invest some time in this, you can get the feeling that you can build anything. And I think it's very cool.
Yeah. And Harry, thank you so much for coming up and teaching us how to use Lovable to the extreme. We're going to have many more of these as well coming up. This is the 4th one. We're going to try to do this more constant. So if you have, again, any parts of building with Lovable that you want to double click on, then please also make sure we hear about them in Discord or Twitter, and we'll make sure to cover them in the up and coming office hours. But yeah, big thank you to you, Harry, for coming here and spending your time showing you how you use Lovable.
Thank you very much, and thanks everybody joining us in chat. All your lovely feedback. We built a really cool app together in an hour, so I hope we can do it again. That was really fun.
Cool.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you.